Я думаю, мы потихонечку начнем.
Hello, colleagues. I think that we can start our traditional 1C section. So, while everyone is coming, we have a couple of minutes. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Anton Doroshkevich. I will be moderating this session. And there are a few issues I would like to tell you about. If you could switch your mobile phones in silent mode, it would be really great, not to distract the speaker. And in the end, when you want to ask a question, please raise your hand, and the volunteers or I will come up to you and give you the mic. The recording is on, and it will be really difficult for us to reflect your voice if you do not speak on the mic. This session has traditionally been devoted to 1C, and we will also touch upon Patroni and have a few more presentations. We will have about 7 to 8 presentations. You will have time for coffee break and for certification, if there is a certification for today. Actually, the time is up, and I would like to give the floor to a recognized expert in Postgres and 1C, Anton Doroshkevich. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I can see that many of you attended yesterday's masterclass, but still I would like to introduce myself. My name is Anton Doroshkevich. I'm from Novosibirsk, from Infosoft company. I'm a head of IT and head of projects supporting major multi-cluster 1C systems. These are client-server systems on Postgres. Yesterday's masterclass stated that everything works really great, but we need to set it. And today's presentation is devoted to the expectations of 1C of Postgres. And, this presentation is a bit criticizing Postgres, but it doesn't mean that nothing works. Actually, everything works, but still, we can criticize it. Actually, this elephant has been working along the road for a long way, and there are no problems regarding functionality anywhere. Well, probably we lack some features that we're used to, but still, there is a big but. The world of 1C, the world of Windows, the world of GUI interface. And for a 1C expert, whether they are programmer, DBA, server admin, for this expert to be switched to the use of console, this black window with large letters is so difficult. But Postgres is actually built on it. That is one thing. Secondly, yesterday I mentioned it already, over the last 2 years, Postgres has grown a lot in the world of 1C in terms of installations. According to unofficial figures, 20% of all installations of client-server systems in Russia account for PostgreSQL. Over these 2 years, we have accumulated some feedback of some issues that were quite unexpected for the developers. Probably they did not even think that they would come up, but it turned out that people really need them. And the third aspect is that actually everything I say is about the representation of these issues rather than the functionality. Actually, there are no issues related to functionality, maybe very few of them. So, that is like Postgres Pro. So don't be offended. I'm speaking to Postgres Pro. Don't be offended. There are a lot of installations, and Postgres Pro is always saying that they need feedback, that they don't know what people need. And now I would like to share with you my opinion. Yeah, I would like to share with you my opinion, and I call on everyone to write to Postgres Pro if you need something, but it doesn't exist. Well, still, first of all, we need to try everything. Most likely you will find that it actually exists. You can always write to them, and they sometimes respond to the mails. And today one came up to me. He said that actually I didn't answer his mail, but still, this mail was received. So, my first feedback is not to Postgres. My first feedback is to PG Pro company. I really want to have a ticketing system on the website. Right now, if you enter the website of Postgres Pro, you will have to think about the way you can actually address support service, because if you enter the website, you will see the phone and the email address, that is info.postgres, and you're not really sure whether this is technical support or manager, so you're writing on the general common email. And if, for example, you have 8 problems in your email, it will be so hard to decipher everything after that. That is one thing. Secondly, the users of the enterprise, or the users that have acquired support, receive specific email address where they can write, but actually still afterwards it will be so difficult to interpret these arrows. So what happened? So on whose side the ball is? This is a screenshot of a ticketing system. I'm not saying that the ticketing system should look this way, but we really need it. And I would recommend to introduce this system for all the users that had registered on the website. It would be really cool. So I entered the website, and this is the ticketing system. I would see the status and all the story of dispatch. It would be so convenient. So I bought the support. In that case, I would see all the licenses, all the time frames of the support. It's like a personal account. For me to talk to you, that is one thing. I mean that I found an error being a user. And now I will tell you about a really scary thing. It is related to here as well. It would be really great to have a bug tracker with mega critical errors that you are aware of. Why? Over the last year, several times, new versions of Postgres were issued, and they contained some errors that are very difficult to find. The errors in the planner, and they had a great impact on 1C, very adverse impact. And for me to learn about this error, that this error really exists, it's not about my code, it's about Postgres after the update. So I managed to learn about that only due to my personal relations. So they actually told me that it is present, that I need to switch off this thing and I need to wait a bit, because in a week it will be issued. So the question is, why did you write it on the website? I'm a registered user. There should be a red button box. I should be able to enter it and see the things that you know, some critical things that you know. And if you know how to circumvent it, if you know when you will issue the new version, it's really important. When DBA doesn't know that this is an error, they do not know what to do about it, because everything became slow. Well, yes, yesterday I updated Postgres. Why is it important? In 1C world, I think that there are a lot of 1C experts here. We are used to a very simple thing. 1C code is not perfect. It is always bad. 1C platform is criticized a lot. But DBMS for us is always right. In 1C world, DBMS cannot give a wrong figure, and due to one error of Postgres, turnover reports showed wrong results. And this is really terrible. Planner gave wrong figures. It is a real mistake. It is really terrible, and that was about DBMS, not about the code. Well, I'm saying that bugs will always exist. because this is a huge product and it's impossible to have no bugs here. It's normal, but please give us information about that. In that case, DBA will make the decision very fast. Okay, in the evening we will roll back to the previous version again. Or if I know that I have to wait for a week, okay, I can tolerate it. Or if possible, I can circumvent something. I can switch off one parameter in the planner and it will work. This is a very important request. I understand that you can send me to PostgreSQL.org for me to read all the information about all bike records. Well, probably you can refer me there, but you cannot refer all 1C community there because that will be too much. They will say that that is too much. Of course, well, I do not actually want to speak about some details, but the idea is that we need to know that you know that an error is present there, and you should also tell us what versions contain this mistake and what we can do. Okay, let's move on.
Если еще 3-4 года назад
3 or 4 years ago,
все пользовались только конкретным
everyone used PGAdmin 3, so they were happy or unhappy about it. But 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, PGAdmin 4 appeared. This is a cool thing, a major step forward. The interfaces became really cool, everything is modern, but please give us desktop application for Windows. We do not want to have this cross-platform in browser because it is so slow.
Что это за цифры?
Look at these figures. This is about opening. So if I press plus, and this is ERP, I showed it to you yesterday. So PGAdmin 3 opens the list of tables within 1.5 seconds. PGAdmin 4 will open it within 5 minutes, and during these 5 minutes Chrome will ask you to close it several times because everything is slow, and even if you manage to wait till it opens, it will be so slow because Chrome will eat up to 1 gigabyte of memory. All the operations with PGAdmin will be so slow until you reopen it. So Ivan said that Postgres Pro is actually developing GUI interface. I don't know whether it's feasible to write something from scratch. Interface 4 is great. It is much more convenient than the third one. Much more convenient. The dashboard is really cool. Everything is cool. But could you give it to us in the form of application for it to work fast? Yesterday, after the masterclass, I received actually a message in WhatsApp. They said that there is a developer. I don't know whether this developer is free or not. VSS.ru or VVS.ru. So it means that you wrote me VSS. So I actually entered it, and there were trading platforms there. VVS.ru, and it is possible to collect PGAdmin 3 that works normally with new Postgres without any errors when you enter it, so we can use it for now. And why do we pay so much attention to the interface? In the past, we could say the following: if you cannot use appropriate interface, you shouldn't work with them. But when we enter the mass market, when we have 20% installations, then this argument actually doesn't work. It's like an excuse, stating that we do not know how to do that, we don't want to do that, or I don't know, without GUI, the threshold of entry into the system is huge, but it shouldn't be like that. That's why I will show other slides about normal interface. For example, PGAdmin 4. Maintenance operation is already present here. Why isn't it possible to add schedule here? Actually, we don't care how you implement it afterwards. It is possible. Please give us the schedule. That is one option. So this is the interface. And now let's move forward. Actually, yesterday I promised to bow to the developers of PG Pro Backup. This is a great software. It can do a lot. And here you can see several screenshots. Well, here it's written minimum setting for PG Pro backup. Minimal setting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 slides. 11 points. That is minimum setting of PG Pro backup. You know, that's a real hell. When you read it, you actually wouldn't like to do it at all. You will enter PG admin, press the right button and state create backup. That's it. So, what can I propose here? MSSQL, as strange as it may seem. Management Studio, everything is so clear. You can do it within 2 seconds. But they do not have increment, they have differentiated backup, and this is the schedule. So everything is in one place. So you can actually have a look at Microsoft Management Studio. That's a great interface. You don't even have to make up anything. You just can enter it and write a similar thing. Everything had already been devised. For example, it's possible to create a scheme for backup using Management Studio on Microsoft SQL. And you know, only those that use XRL Express write it in a different way. Because they do not have Management Studio, it cannot be connected in terms of maintenance plan creation, and it takes you about 10 seconds. You know, it takes you longer time to draw the plan on paper in PG Pro backup, although the functions are really cool. As a friend of mine said, it is written by Linux users for Martians. It is so difficult to create a working system of backup on PG Pro backup. It will take about 2 weeks. Of course, if you do it for the second time, it will take you 2 days, but it won't take you 5 seconds anyway. And right here, I would like to emphasize the following. It is true for all Postgres. Maybe I would be wrong, I don't know. But I think that right now, the problem of Postgres and the problem of all its extensions is very fast development of functionality. So what do we have as a result? Once a year, a new Postgres is issued. We have 12 Postgres already. Who has 12 Postgres? Raise your hands. Who has 11 Postgres? 6. Who has 10? Okay, 6 more. Who has 9? Okay, but actually, if you ask all the experts, not 1C expert, because actually 1C started using it 2 years ago when number 10 appeared, they actually have 9.6, and 10% account for other installations, and 90% of them have 9.6 Postgres 9.6. So once a year, you have good features, and it is good to be updated, but still, on Postgres 10 and 11, there are still some problems. So I would like to request the community the following. You should increase the number of developers for them to introduce some amendments and develop future versions. And you know, we have an impression that the community of developers made their best to improve functions. So even if there are some errors in the previous versions, they do not really care about that. They want to develop new versions. Why did I mention PG Pro Backup? Once a week, new key to the string is added on GitHub. So the development of functions is really fast, and it's not possible to catch up with it. We need a normal GUI that will make it easier. Otherwise, I will have to read GitHub of Pro Backup for a very long time. PG Pro Scheduler. Have you heard about this thing? No, you haven't? Well, it's clear. And someone who is not from Postgres Pro, have you ever heard about it? But actually, it is really cool. It's not easy interface. No, it isn't. This is scheduler embedded in Enterprise DBMS. Why doesn't anyone know about it? This is enterprise product, so we request to introduce it as a separate product. Just like it was with PGConf, documents are available on this product. And it's quite similar to PGConf. I don't want to show you 10 more slides of minimum setting of scheduler. Well, actually, the setting is a bit less. It can do really cool things. It does not just launch it. Inside, it has artificial intelligence.
But you will not receive any feedback as long as the public joins in because of the complexity, because it is only in enterprise. Therefore, everyone who has worked with it can guess where this screenshot has come from. This is Management Studio, and this is how we set the schedule. It helps us set any schedule, any version of a schedule. How to store it is another matter. You can follow those schedules or you can add them in Chrome. As to interfaces, I've covered them. Well, it does not mention in manuals, but these things launched in Windows do not work with Postgres Pro Enterprise. They say Postgres Pro Enterprise is not supported when you want to remove the data, for example. I can provide the screenshot again. So please open our dialogue in WhatsApp. I sent you the screenshot there. This was quite unexpected. Why? In Postgres, it doesn't really matter. This could be a feature. As I said, I will send you a screenshot too. In 1C, it's a great drawback because it is window-based, and all backups are on Windows. This has been a tradition. The funny thing is that the vanilla Postgres is working, and the 1C build works, and Pro Standard operates. And for some reason, Enterprise sends you this message: backup is not something that can wait. Backups should be in place, and that means you need to rebuild, restructure the full system of backup copying overnight. Maybe this was not a very good version and not a very good revision, but Andrei, please check our chat in WhatsApp and find that screenshot. I'm telling you, go and check it. I hope I'm mistaken, but when I'm done, I'll try to launch it. So this problem was identified in Enterprise quite unexpectedly. So what comes next? We had a lot of tutorials about how to develop a cluster, how to establish a cluster. There will be another presentation by Semyon, how to make a cluster. In addition to Semyon, there will be one more tutorial about the same thing. So please make a cluster out of the box. Please understand which option you believe is reliable. We used not to have replicas. We used Slowney 1, Slowney 2. Then replica was created, which worked out of the box with one setting file. Everything worked. It worked as the core of the DBMS. So please make us a cluster, give it to us. If you have a cluster with 800 commands, which makes a difference whether there is one sign before the string or no sign. So build Patroni in, do something about it, because so the threshold of entering the cluster is quite high. So one thing is to transition from Windows to Linux, because Postgres on Windows is not very good. And after that, you need to break your mind to set the cluster. You should surround it with a lot of software. Although in MS SQL it took only 3 keys to press.
Правда в том, что включить полный срок.
Just press the button to turn it on. And that was it. So it was that easy. And make a couple of installations before that. So make for such an opportunity. So make pre-set clusters so that I, as a DBMS administrator, define the synchronous and asynchronous replicas, and the rest should work by itself without any additional software. I don't know what magic should happen inside it, but please make sure it is available, otherwise it is hard to enter Enterprise. Enterprise will start saying, where do we get administrators? And now we need to look for Postgres administrators. They're not available, and if it is Linux-based, such people do not exist. It's really hard to do this, to find people, so please do what I'm talking about. So you have understood how to make a replication. The funny thing is that all the software needed for building a cluster, these are just software with a lot of scripts, a lot on top of the replication. There is no miracle there. Plus wall receive. There is nothing special about it, nothing unusual. This is the technology that supports the core. So please let us use it in a productive way. This is a funny picture. We are a bit moving away to dreaming. What I'm saying is that listen to me and let us consider it, let us think about it. But Progress version 10 supports multi-column statistics. It is called multi-version, but in reality it is multi-column. In 1C it is very relevant. Oftentimes in the register table the first column very much correlates with column 5, because column 1 is a registrator. There is a reference, a link to registrator, and on the right-hand side there are movements. Postgres does not know that something is correlated. It considers this as one column. No links between columns are accounted for. In version 10, functionality is available. In Postgres 10, everybody was told you are DBMS administrators. So go get the table, indicate the parameter, which will make the statistics get assembled in this table from this, and that column. Sounds great. Remember that file that opens for 5 minutes. There are 12,000 tables in it, and the DB administrator will his hair will get gray as he does it. So let's give a lot of scripts to the DB administrator. He will first need to understand which queries slow down, then retrieve the SQL query out of it, understand which table it is made on and what is the content of the fields, and then find the table, just the comments, and say, be done. And then not to forget that as you restructure the platform, this will collapse again and you'll have to do it over again. The solution is almost available. Let me tell you, we are testing what Postgres will be doing for you. It will analyze the plan of queries. If the number of strings is different from the actual number of strings and is more than the setting parameter, and by default it is 10, then this table and this field content will be written into a service table and into the utility table, and Analyze will create statistics on its own. It will be multi-column statistics. Another thing is that when we test it, things will get easy. With this number of columns, it should get easier. Although on the server we have more than one database. I don't think 1C guys will have one database there. There are up to 100 databases on one server, multiplied by the number of tables. It is impossible for the DBA administrator to do this. So it is hard to write scripts
Но это уже спичевник личности.
with that. But the dream will soon come true.
Едем дальше.
Moving on,
Попробую объяснить.
let me explain this to you.
Попробую объяснить. Tablespace, вчера уже рассказывал.
Table spaces. There are two preset table spaces.
Классно, это уже дало возможность.
This is great. This helped us separate 1C data and index data into two disk arrays. And this is not killed by restructuring. This is built into the platform.
Но не всегда этого достаточно.
Although it is not always enough.
Почему? И это нам тоже не решено. Тоже
In MS,
например, вся база на NVMe,
the full database is on NVMe, and the tables with scans of documents of all clients, which holds 2.8 terabytes, 99% of data. It is on a RAID, and we never search in it. We never do scan table. We say, yes, this is the ID. So the disks handle this, but this is a separate table space with a dedicated name with the table. But when it is necessary to restructure the table, our platform will send it to the default table space or break into two table space, 1C data and 1C index. Therefore, my request to you, an alien request, is to correct it. What happens with the platform? What is restructuring? As we restructure, the platform creates a new table, which is called table name, ng, with a new structure of data.
кто, кстати, пользуется второй версией?
Who uses version 2 of the updates through Java? One person.
Да ну, нормально. Не, ну бывает.
Things are all right there. What things happen, of course.
Ну, я тут про это не написал, почему-то они же просто.
Only one person rose his hand. So you can switch to version 2, put Java machine on 1C, and as you add the requisite to the table, it will not cause creation of a table. You just say add DBMS. Well, 99% use version 1. For MS SQL, there is a data plug-in. It is for a fee. It serves for a different purpose, but what is the point of it? So catch the name of a table at Postgres.
Смотрите, отсеките случай,
Remove ng.
в каком tablespace он у вас сейчас?
Which table space is it in, this original table, and put the ng table in the same table space.
Либо как вариант,
Or, as an option,
дайте мне настройку, которая
give me a setting
PostgreSQL
in PostgreSQL.Conf. I will indicate where to move the ng tables to. Ideally, put it in the same table space.
и похоже на эту штуку, только совсем
Similarly, but a different story at the same time. So what is the point of this picture? Full text search. Who has the full text search in 1C? Only 2 people?
кто имеет с этим проблемы.
Who has issues with it?
То есть у тебя он не включен, но ты...
So it is not on, but you still have issues with it. That's cool.
Вот. Почему он не включен?
Why do you keep it off? All the rest of you.
Остальных он выключен,
That's right. The rest keeps it off because there are issues with it. 1C server will collapse with big data. And secondly, for some reason, Why? 1C, by default in all configurations and in all elements and dimensions, turns the full text search on. If it did vice versa, turned it off, and only you can turn it on in the configurator where it is necessary, then we would use the full text search from the 1C server. But life is different, and this plugin is available for MS SQL. Postgres has a great engine for the full text search, and it is built on full text search indexes. So we have no lag from appearing information in the database through the full text search appearance. It may take up to several hours in 1C. For instance, you enter new nomenclature, and only after several hours you will have it in place. Of course, it depends on the statement of work, but anyway, the 1C server will freeze for a while. But where is the problem, and what is the problem? Why cannot we use Postgres for this purpose now? Because the platform, if the full text search is turned off, the platform generates command like to the DBMS server, but the server needs the command contains. Let's give this opportunity to DBAs of 1C, an opportunity. This would be a violation of 1C license, but that's all right. Let them give the opportunity to list tables where like can be replaced with contains. It's not obvious. You need to go do it very, very carefully and accurately. And then Postgres will get a huge benefit in terms of speed. It will be an instantly searching system in 1C, while today it is very bad. Patch for MCSQL costs 500,000 rubles, the one that is doing it. It is available, but it's very expensive. It needs to be heavily tested. This thing can break up everything while it shouldn't. So the time is almost up. The curse of 1 gigabyte. I will repeat my request. Teach it to work with years. Teach it to dump and restore data in the cell in excess of 1 megabyte. When I try to dump this database per years, across years, you will dump it without mistakes, without errors. But as you try to restore it on this table, you will get an error. And in reality, your dumps will be useless, will be wasted. So the data will not be recoverable whatsoever. But there are tools that can do it. They're on GitHub. We wrote a letter to Ivan, and he's saying that they included it into the roadmap. I don't know whether it's true or not. It looks like it is one of the most complex things that cannot be changed. It is hard to change because it requires compatibility on your behalf. Because if you need to change only one word, you'll have to test all the Postgres branches up to version 8. So, as an option, would you like everyone to go to Postgres 12? Make this new feature, make sure it works with version 12, and then we will all transition to version 12. And we'll be happy to have good dumps there without this 1 gigabyte curse. Well, the time is almost up, and one more dream is coming true.
Еще одна благодарность.
One more appreciation to the team. 3 years ago, I was talking about my pain, and I guess there was someone from that team in the audience. Maybe it was Fyodor.
Я озвучил боль.
I was saying that in 1C, in 1C SQL, we're used to the database cross-section. So when we are 1 second back, we want to bring the full database back 1 second, not the server.
Есть сервер, он не может сохранить базу, да?
So the server is synchronizing in full. It can synchronize just one base. Now imagine the 1C database server. It has 100 databases, and you want to bring one database 2 hours back, for instance. In 1C it is possible. In Postgres, and this database is 3 gigabytes, so you will have to bring 100 terabytes of data back, then remove the PG dump and restore PGD restores. So what did PG Pro Backup did to make our life easier? Today, if you removed base backup, it is possible to restore a specific database or specific databases by listing them here. And they did it in a very intelligent way. So you can restore it into the same place, recover it in the same place. So in reality, they recover the full server, but only in terms of the file names and their existence. But if files do not have to do with the database, they are 0 in size. And in reality, it's only 3 gigabytes that you need to restore. It will take you a couple of seconds. You will dump it, and then everything is going to be all right. The only restriction is on the server which has been restored like this, recovered like this, do not launch vacuums or auto vacuums. It will be angry. It will face a 0 volume backup.
So that is exclusively for admins. So you restored it, you rolled it back, and you dropped it on product in restore. Thanks God it works in databases. So I would like to thank PG Pro Backup, it's really cool, and I recommend everyone to move there. Don't be afraid of minimal settings, because it works. So that's it. Thank you. Hello, my name is Fyodor. I'm from PostgreSQL, and I have several comments on each course you mentioned, but we don't have time because the time is up. So I have the following proposal. If Anton is the only person that wants to get answers, I can meet him during the lunch, but if someone else wants to get these answers, yes, we have such people. So we can gather behind the scenes here in this room. Well, there is a window here at 2:30, so we can meet here. 2:30, we can meet here, okay? And then we can talk to each other. So, Anton, I would request you to return this presentation, because actually, well, at first I hoped that I will memorize all my answers, but then I realized that I won't be able to do that. We have 5 minutes left. Yes, we do. We do have 5 minutes. 5 minutes for questions. Vasily Puchkov, it is key. So I would like to comment this behind the scenes discussion preliminarily. So Anton, it was really great about Management Studio. Everything is great until you want to move them to a different server because it's not possible to script maintenance plan. It is quite difficult to work with integration services. And if we have a great server with 20 service plans that are set, they have backups, and we want to have them transferred on a different server, the adventure starts here. You mean that in that case we will have no adventures? But if we have the scripts, we just take them and transfer them, and that's it. Well, MS SQL cannot be better than Postgres in principle, of course not. Well, I mean that we do not have to actually hide here. Well, you can do it in terms of graphics. The way you implemented it inside, you can use XML, and after that, do import and export of the maintenance plan. Once again, if Postgres writes prompt tabs, this will be a whole insecurity, probably, so it's not that easy. Yes, of course. Of course, we should discuss it. There is a question there. My name is Denise, and I have feedback. You spoke a lot about GUI and Windows, and you said that it's difficult for 1C experts to move to Nix, and our company represents people that had rejected Windows. We have Nix only. Was it easy for you? Well, it happens due to my efforts, actually. It's not really easy for 1C experts because they're used to GUI, and feedback on PGAdmin includes the following. Let's think of GUI not only in terms of Windows but also in terms of Wins. PGAdmin 3 was good because actually it was suitable not only for Windows, it was suitable for Nix as well. Okay, well, of course, we can think about that, but actually the world of 1C is Windows. I mean that there are 2-3%, and of course, this share will grow due to input substitution, due to more stringent policy of Russian watchdog for consumer protection in terms of license. Of course, this share will grow, but right now, it is not sensible for us. Well, PostgreSQL says, guys, make PGAdmin as desktop application for Windows. It will take us 1 month. But cross-platform development will take 1 year. We don't want to wait for a year for 2% of users. Later it's possible to do that. But on the other hand, why? And that's it. You can do it within Linux. Well, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'm not saying that let's wait. Nix experts that were completely moved to Nix. They said 2 or 3%, 2 or 5%. I'm saying that you shouldn't forget about that. And we are soft developers. We understand that for Windows, we can prepare cross-platform development by default. And for it to be cross-platform, we will need to spend plus 5% of times. Well, I just asked for a desktop application. It will work on Mac as well. Yes, including Mac. Okay. We have time for one more question. Do you have questions? 2:30. Okay. If there are no questions,